Hello guys and welcome to GA Flying. Today we have a very special start. As you can see, we are in the Fokker 28. So the older Fokker, the much smaller one that is much closer to a GA plane. In this case, this will be the executive version of it, so it's like almost a business jet. And we will obviously talk about all of the details in a second. As you can see, I started in the cockpit. I started when it's still being early morning, just because I wanted you to see all of the amazing lights. And the lighting in the cockpit is pretty much, I think, the most unique and awesome thing in this plane. So it was important for me to show it to you. We will be starting the flight probably in a couple of hours, let's say when the passengers will be there. Just so you will be able to see some of the terrain, because we will be starting from one of the areas that were improved in the last world update. Okay. So let me just show you the map for today. So we will be starting from Jackson Hole. Now it kind of moved. No, I think this is correct here. And we will be flying to Walla Walla. So why this route? First, as I said, there's new terrain here that was improved around Jackson Hole. The airport itself is also improved, but this is not the main point here. The main point is that I finally wanted to fly a departure and an approach that would be fully flown with radio navigation. So there are like fewer and fewer of them out there, but between those two airports, it's totally possible. Okay, so also the interesting part is Walla Walla, so something that I have discovered lately, that there is just a beautiful approach when you come from this direction. Obviously, depending on the weather, I just had perfect weather when I was doing it, like some clouds, some sunshine, the sun rays coming through the clouds. We will see how this will look like today. But I hope it will be beautiful. And the destination airport will be custom airport that I have downloaded from Flight Sim.to. I'm owning it for some time now, and it's also pretty nice. So let me just remove this one, and let's just say this was the end of the working day yesterday, and we will just jump to early morning tomorrow, because I want to show you the whole process of starting up the plane, its exterior view, and talk about it. Okay, so see you in a minute then. And welcome back. As I said, we have a beautiful morning. In the background you can see the new mountains that came with this world update, and you can also see the beautiful plane. From what I could see, it's the only executive version of this plane. Obviously the cabin is still like an airliner cabin, but it was used for charter executive use, probably for like lower grade executives, just two very big groups of them. And I think it was only one of those planes that was purchased from Fokker. So we have a pretty unique business jet that most people don't fly. So why have I decided to buy it? First, I saw the release of the Fokker 100, but I was thinking it's kind of a generic airliner. I know people that have memories from real life and stuff. They were for sure hyped, but for me, it was kind of like a modern airliner already and not that unique. So I still decided that I wanted a Fokker, so I checked the prices, and there was a sale for this one on the marketplace. One important fact, when I bought it from the marketplace, it was obviously streamed in the beginning, and I had lots and lots of problems with streaming of the model, of the textures. It was very slow. When I jumped between inside view and outside view, it was loading for ages, and I never had a problem with a streamed plane. That saying, I tried out downloading it with the new functionality of 2024, and now it works without many problems. So sometimes something loads, but it's just very minor things. So if you have it on the marketplace and are experiencing those long texture loading times, just download it from the marketplace. One interesting fact here is that the leading edge is also different. This is the only one of the Fokkers that has a shiny leading edge, probably because it's supposed to transport wealthy people. So it's supposed to look nice. So it's a little bit less retro, and I have to say I really like how it looks. And also how it sounds, which you will see in a second. Okay, not in a second, in a few minutes probably. With this, let me just go outside, and I will show you the outside. We do have all of the functions. For now, let's keep it here. The tires are pretty interesting. So I was watching some videos about it. Obviously here you can see there is like a strange profile, and apparently it is to move the splash of the water to the side for it not to go up into the engine. Pretty smart. I think I have seen it for the first time, at least like at least done like this. I would assume the normal profile of modern tires also is constructed like this one, but here it's like very obvious. So let me now use some of those 2024 features, so we can just pretend we are the ground crew here, and we can also connect our GPU like this. So, new Jackson Hole, much improved, and you will see even more once we start. It is an airliner, but actually it's one of the easier ones to fly. Well, one of the more automated ones, I would say, because when it comes to hand flying, it can be a little bit challenging, but we will also talk about this in a second. And let's go inside. Here you can see the loading, but it's like very, very fast. And it's only loading because we are on a custom airport. Normally when I would be on a normal airport, so like a vanilla one, it would just immediately load. So it's not perfect, but it's much better than streaming. So let's prepare everything. A very interesting cockpit. Actually, I think it looks better when it's when it's early in the morning or later in the evening, because I'm not that much of a fan of this bright white-ish worn texture. I don't know, I don't like dirt in my cockpit. Like, if it's nice looking dirt, it's okay, but if it's too much like realistic dirt, it's kind of triggering me. But like, when it's a little bit darker, the cockpit of this one is just beautiful. Let's proceed. So battery, and let's see if we have the GPU. It is connected. So let's just proceed. And we have all of those beautiful lights here. So when it comes to the loading of the plane, maybe before we do it, let's do the emergency lights. You can set the speed of fueling and passenger loading. I will be doing fueling immediately, so we will not wait for it, but we'll use 5 minutes for passenger loading. This is like generally enough to set up everything here. So fueling, start. It's set to instant, so it's already done. And now let's do the passengers, 5 minutes, start boarding. And now you will hear the music, the people speaking, the doors opening, so it's done pretty nicely. And if you are a fan of GSX, it's also working with the GSX vehicles, if you like it. And now we can prepare everything. So this is all set up. As I said, it's a pretty automated plane. So here the emergency light we have already done. Here, let's already prepare the APU. So here we are opening the APU door. Let me go outside. Will it be visible? Yeah, this is that is opening, and you can see it opening here. And it takes around 10 seconds. So while it is opening, you can set up additional things. So we will be cruising at 21, but they recommend to always add an additional one, so 22,000 feet. And also we can set up the barrel for today, which is, oh no, this is in European units. And I have it in American ones. So I will just recalculate it in a second. Just give me a second. I will just flash the movie. Okay, and we are back, 1024. Forgot this one, because before I was flying it in Europe and forgot that this can be a problem. Let's go here. We will prepare one pack, pretty much, so the air conditioning unit. This is already set up. This can wait. This can wait. And we are close to being finished pretty much with the setup. As you can see, it's pretty cold inside, so we will want the APU as soon as possible. One additional thing that we'll be doing will be here, and we have to open the emergency oxygen. If something would happen, then it will be ready in the masks. We can also set up the altitude for the cruise. Didn't think about this one, that that everything is in hectopascal. So 21. So this is a new unit that came with the version 2 of the plane. And actually without this one, I would probably not want to fly it with radio navigation only, because it's very, very annoying to fly such planes on like procedural approaches without having Alt pre-select and VS. And without this, in the main version as it was released, it was not having both of those options. So this is it, this is it, this is it. Pretty nice music, and I think you can start with the APU then. So the start button for the APU is here. And you can actually observe here how it's being turned on. Let me see if I have no GPU unit, because there are two choices. You can have the FMC here, and also a small Garmin 430 unit here. So I actually don't like the FMS. It's nice, it's an UNS1 that you probably know from other planes. But I really hate having a GPS without having some kind of display that shows me the waypoints. If there is nothing wrong with the approach and stuff. I had so many situations where it was like super annoying. So I either want the classic Garmin with the Garmin screen, or I just prefer radio navigation. Can uncage this one. There's also kind of a map function here, but it's like very, very basic. With this, let's just start. So this is the generator, and this is the air from the APU. And with this, we can get rid of here the GPU. I really like this effect when it like jumps from one bus to the other, and we can get rid of the GPU. With the additional power, we can get some pressure into our braking systems. So let's just do it. If we would need to use the parking brake during pushback. Sometimes this is also depleted. So when you are taking a long time, this is also going down and down and down and down and down. So this is pretty much why you would use it. I think the system 2 is not needed for the pushback, but I'm not entirely sure. So normally when I was starting the plane, those were more depleted, and then there was more of an effect of using like pump 1.
Boarding is complete.
Okay, so I was talking a lot and it's already ready, and you can see the door is closing. So 5 minutes is about right if you are not talking as much as I'm doing. Let's prepare the beacon light. The radios are already on. There is also like a bug in 2024 that those are the fuel levers, and they start in maximum for some reason, so you have to put them down to shut off like it is now. So just down. As we have the APU, we can prepare for engine start, so the boost pumps go to on. We are leaving the center ones because the center tank is empty. Let's get the rotating beacons, and we can... some people already do it with APU, and some just after the engine start. Those are the remaining avionics, so we can just do it a little bit later, I think. Let me take a look here. So one pack is enough as long as we are on APU, because it cannot support 2 packs, and now we can seat the passengers. This all stays after we have engine start, and you can see it's getting warmer and warmer, and there's obviously a nice simulation of the temperature inside. We can do a short outside view. Actually should probably reduce the speed of the camera for a more cinematic feel. And I have to say, I really like how this plane looks in the shortest version, this stubby one, and with this like private executive livery. Really, really nice. There's like a lot of shine and those new reflection effects. Sadly, as I said, in the other versions, there is a problem with the reflections on the leading edge, so it looks a little bit more dated, like in the simulator dated and not like real life dated. Okay, so once again, a lot of talking, so let me make sure that we have everything. I think we can prepare. I will be using the pushback. Sorry, my voice. The pushback provided by the tablet here, just to showcase all of those functionalities. I actually do have a plugin that is removing the visual tag that is always before you in MSFS. So for me, the tag will be invisible. That will just push us back. Let me make sure everything is fine. So we do have pressure in the system, so we can get rid of the chokes. And also we can slowly go back. I will just need to remove this. And I like it very slow because then I can actually turn on the engine. So let's go up. Everything is automated, so starter master here. And let's just do the second engine. So no bleeds to switch, nothing. Here we are observing till it reaches 15, so this is actually the high pressure RPM. I will talk about the other gauges during the flight. And we are ready, so we are moving it to the first position. You can go outside. Let's wait for it to stabilize. If it's above 400 or 50 here, then we can move it to full. So here. And as you could see and hear, it has switched on its own pretty much. So we can now start the other one. It's probably one of the most automated airliners that I know, which is really surprising because obviously it's a pretty old plane. Okay, so 15 on high pressure RPM. Not sure if we are not too far. No, we are not. Now, fuel. Let me take a look. Normally the ground crew should do it. And I want to go south. Okay, so I will be starting from north and then go south. So we can slowly start turning. Okay, it's almost at 50. It's at 400 temperature, so we can put it to full. Let's see what the ground crew is seeing. I guess we can a little bit increase the speed by a little bit because we will be never pushed back. Let's get rid of this one, so we will only turn now. And in a second I will just get all of the VORs sorted out. Is it? No, sorry. I just wanted this one. Can I? I cannot just make it to the side, which is interesting because I think I was able to do it last time I was here. Maybe because the wheel is wrong? I'm not sure. Yeah, so sadly last time I did a very nice lineup here, so not this time. Okay, let's get rid of this one, cancel it. So I guess GSX is sometimes better, at least if you are not doing other stuff. So here if we click here, it will set up the trim for the current weight. So we have this. And what else? So here we have the takeoff calculations. So we will be starting with flaps 11, which is the standard setting. And it's already, if we click here, it will set our speeds. And let me just get to the setting that we need. So now we can do all of the remaining stuff. So the remaining avionics, the radios are on. We can go to altitude reporting. Let me get nav lights and the taxi light. And now to the overhead. So now we can maintain the second pack. So some stronger air conditioning here. Let me see what we don't need. So we no longer need the APU. They do recommend to keep the APU for flights shorter than 30 minutes, but this is not something that we will be doing. So yeah, let's get rid of the bleeder from the APU and let's get rid of the generator. Let me see if the generators are working, the ones from the engine. Yeah, they are green. So we can get rid of this one. And how do we start the APU? We are using this over speed test. It starts going down and now we can close the door. Okay, let's hope I didn't forget anything. We can set up so pitot heat can go on. If it's below 20 degrees, we can already turn the windshield icing on, and it's pretty cold, so this is fine. And this will go to auto. This is the engine anti-ice once we are in the air. And you can still see this great lighting here. Are we on the brake? Here we are. And the last thing, I think, is the gas lock. Very important, do not forget it. It is in the checklist before the start. So if you will be just following the checklist, they are pretty nice, they are not too long. Let me just show you. Especially the ones after you have already turned on the engines, after starting, are pretty nice and concise. There are not too many additional real life points that are normally just like elongating those lists. So we have the altitude. Let me talk about this thrust display. So here, if you would like to, you would derate the engine. From what I have seen from the video of the developer, it's always automatically set to the right value without derating if you start the flight. Sadly, there is no way to make it like more advanced, so you have to set it up, but you can always change it. And the tables are, for example, here, thrust index, and let's just say, let me see what the temperature is. So it's 10 degrees, nice. And how high are we? 6,000 feet. Okay, so we need the next table for sure. So here, next table, 6,000 feet, 10 degrees. It should be at 106. Maybe I'm blind or something, but it looks like 106. So let's just set it to 106. And obviously, if you would like to derate it, you would need to assume that it's a higher temperature. But the exact process for assigning those higher temperatures is not published, at least not in the materials that come with the plane. You can also put this on standby, and let me just set up 106. And in general, when we will be lining up at starting, we have to move the thrust levers to 100 on this gauge. This is important because we will be using different gauges for different phases of flight. So for start, it will be 100 here. For climb, it's 96 here. And then for cruise, most people use 90 or 89 on this high pressure RPM. So this mostly for start. So much talking. Obviously, there are a lot of fun tests. So if somebody is into tests, there are lots of these, although not as many as in the BAE 146. And one thing that we can prepare is just the flight director for the takeoff. And I guess we can already tune in our VORs that we'll be using. And as I said, this is supposed to be one of the main points of this flight. So let me just explain everything, because I don't often have the opportunity to have a full flight with radio navigation, including like everything that is going on. So first we will be flying with the VOR that we are starting with on the airport. So 115.4. 115.4 goes into nav1. Here, let's also remember to enable DME information. And then the second one that we'll be using on the approach is this one, on the departure, sorry. 113.85. 113.85. Okay, let me double check. 113.85 and 115.3. This is nice. And I will show you the departure, then why do we need those. Is it the departure? Yeah, so we will start here using the 192 radial from this VOR, and once we are 26 nautical miles away from this VOR, we will be turning on the 276 radial for this one. Now let me just set it up. So the first course will be 192 for this. I really like the acceleration on this one. It's really, once you are used to how fast it moves, you can do it very quickly, which is something that I'm really appreciating, because as you saw in the Phenom, it takes a lot of time to turn those knobs. So 192, 276. Actually, the other way around, it would be faster. Yeah, just perfect. So this was entertaining. With this, I think we can close the door. Not looking at our VIP passengers, semi-VIP. And let me make sure this is correct. So 192, 192, and we will be setting up the heading back to the runway heading once we are lined up. So once again, so I don't forget, we'll be moving north and then turning south on the airport. And the last thing that I think we can do is already arm the ground spoilers. If we would have like a rejected takeoff, then they would deploy automatically. And here is the not touch point but hidden click spot for the EFB. This one we can hide here, and there's also one additional hidden click spot for fans of those. This is this screw that will just change to standard pressure. Where is it? The click spot is strange. Okay, here. So let's just taxi up. A very nice high resolution of those mountains. Did I use the taxi light? It's always too much talking, not enough stuff. So the taxi light is on. Let me do a last check. Everything seems to be fine. So let's just proceed. And I just love the sounds of this one. Let me maybe make it a little bit louder and then I will turn it down. And actually the outside sounds are like in a Tomcat. So an F13, let me just show it to you. I'm not sure if it will be as visible here. And maybe more in the air, but when I was flying like Tomcats, so those jet fighters and other simulations, it was sounding almost exactly like this one. Oh, yeah. No, come on, Sim. Don't do it to me. No! Okay, we are saved. That's so strange. Like, in general, my Sim is so solid. Like, in the last few hundred hours of flying, I think I had just like 2 crashes or something. It's just like crazy for any program really that you run on your computer. So if it would crash, this would be really sad, and I would be surprised here. Okay. So one thing that you have to keep in mind is that the nose wheel is only working effectively if you are very slow. So if you are like taxiing at a moderate pace, it will not really work and the plane will not want to turn. Okay, let's prepare everything. So let's extend the lights. So this is the flare light. So you will often see it in the manual in the checklist. So the middle landing light is the flare light. I can just show it to you from the outside. And they are deployable. And one of them is the taxi light and one is the flare light. So we don't need the taxi light for takeoff. I do want the strobe light. Let me just check if everything is fine. We are turning on the yaw damper before engine start, which is great, and we, before takeoff. And we can also keep it for the landing, which I love because I hate like reaching for it when I'm on short final. So this is very nice. Oops, let's not set up the trim. This needs to stay on takeoff because this is the EGT limitation for different phases of flight. Once we will be climbing, we will have to change it to climb, so 1 position down. What else can I tell you? So let me see if we are ready here. So we have the anti-icing that we want. We have 2 packs and we don't need to turn them off. We got rid of the APU, so this is fine. We have the pressurization set to what... Whoops, let's not click random stuff. And everything seems to be set up. Let me just do the last check here. So APU is off, lift dampers are armed, flight controls, let's check them, make sure we don't have the gas lock on. Transponder is already on altitude and landing lights are extended, so let's inform the cabin crew that we are ready.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for takeoff.
And we can slowly line up.
Cabin is secured for departure.
And this was like described in the SID, you will turn after 26 miles from this one. So this shows you the DME for NAV1 and this is the DME for NAV2. Yeah, nice mountains. Yes, I have to say, I can turn it off. I have to say, from the business jets that were released lately, I think if this counts as a business jet, this is the most fun for me just because it's most unique. And obviously the Phenom, but it's mostly not because I like the plane, like the type of plane, but because I really like the failure simulation. Let me set up the heading. Yeah, this acceleration is really great. I hate turning for a long time, so this is just perfect. So once again, we will just move it to 100% thrust. We need to make sure the gas lock is off. This is the most common mistake and I also did it many times, so please watch out. We have all of the boost pumps on, apart from the center tank. This is the full. Everything seems to be fine, nothing is visible here. We can set up some speed. So many things will happen during the climb, but in the end we will be aiming for 250 knots below 10,000 and then 270 up until our cruising altitude. The co-pilot will be like speaking to us a lot during the climb and will tell us what we should do, which is always great in those just flight planes. Obviously it's not visible. I was actually tempted to have a co-pilot, but he was like shaking all of the time for some reason, and he had like some really bugged hands, so I couldn't really look at him, so I decided to have an invisible one. I hope you can forgive me. And this seems to be fine. Let's see if it's warm enough for the passengers. It is. So we can just start stepping on the brakes, and this will need to move to 100. And our nice co-pilot will tell it to us once it's fine. And we have rotation here. Let me make sure I have everything where it needs to be, and we can start. Is it the right view? Oh. Now it's better. What? Okay, now very strange things are happening. Checked.
Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up.
Gear up.
Flaps up.
Flaps up. And now we can go nose down
Set climb power.
to gain some speed. It's very nice to hand fly. I will talk about the leg in a second. I just need to fly the plane now. So we will need to act when we will see close to 26 here. And then I will tell you what to do. For now, I'm just trying to keep the nose relatively low to accelerate. We can move the thrust to 96%, but it's very, here to 96% on the high pressure RPM to be closer to the recommended climb setting. Now we can go autopilot, so I want to follow the beam and I want indicated airspeed locked. Am I following the beam? No. Let me just get this one. Okay. And I want indicated airspeed. So now we are overspeeding a little bit. I'm not sure why the autopilot has not reacted here. Because I was using autopilot modes before I switched it on before. So just to be safe, to not have the situation that we have seen here, first I guess you need to turn on the autopilot, and then you need to click IAS, right? Indicated airspeed, as soon as you are at 250. So now you will need to move the nose down a little bit, or up actually, because we are a little bit too fast. And now we should decelerate in a second. Okay, so we are nicely keeping on the VOR radial 1902, so let me just show you what we are doing. So we are flying along here, and at 26 miles we will turn to the other VOR. So I need to get a little bit slower. Let's just reduce the high pressure RPM a little bit because it's supposed to be 96, so I guess we have it here now. And also we are in pitch mode, so I'm selecting the pitch of the plane with this one. So let's raise the nose a little bit to get rid of some speed. But actually we are already over 10,000, so we can move it here and now do it nose down. Okay, let's move it to about 2000, I think. So here we can see the pitch. And it should accelerate in a moment. So we are kind of close to our altitude, so let's just set up altitude catch, like altitude pre-select. So then it will stay here. Okay, so we are looking for 26. Let me just set up the heading here. Okay, so got confused by those strange legs that I had. So I was flying from this airport many times, also with this plane lately, after the changes, and I had no legs at all. So I would imagine maybe it's a combination of the new airport and me recording, I guess, because the plane itself also didn't have really, didn't give me many problems. I think we can just switch to vertical speed for the nose to go down a little bit, and then we will just increase the speed. Okay, let's change to heading. Now let's change to VOR2. And just a second. And heading here. And here we have switched to this course and to this VOR, so we are pretty much now turning on this radio. So we have done this turn here. overshot it a little bit. Here we can see we have the right climb speed, so let's change it to IAS. Okay, so this was a little bit chaotic, so just once again what I should have been doing if I would not be confused. First 250, once we reach 150 we are locking it with indicated airspeed until we are at 10,000 feet, and then above 10,000 feet we are going nose down a little bit to accelerate, reaching 2070 and locking it with IAS again. We should be able to nicely turn here, and now we can do our climb checklist. So engine eyes to auto. Obviously the gear is up, our flaps are up, spoilers and dampers are turning off by themselves, so this should be fine. And we can just see, so landing gear, yes, lift dampers, yes, checking everything. We are kind of at 96, so this is the optimal one. We can get rid of the landing lights. Nice, engine out, eyes to auto, pressurization, there should be a difference, and there is a difference. And fasten seat belts, we can release the passengers. And we are catching 21, always remember to click this one, because otherwise you will... Is it turbulence? Strange. Okay, but either way you will bust the altitude that you wanted to check. Let's check to beam for it to capture this new VOR. I mean, let's switch to beam, because beam is just like nav with radio navigation, or GPS if you have GPS. So we have ice detect, so the procedure is if there is ice detected we have to switch engine anti-ice to on. This seems fine, this seems fine. This is ice detected, right? Yeah, it is. Is it turning? Beam and height is pretty much altitude hold, this one. Okay, and we are nearing the next VOR. So let me just show you. It's always a lot of work with VOR, so we are nearing this one after the turn here, and then we need to proceed to this one, which will be 113.5. So I don't see the light. This is active. This is the light. Okay, so 113.5. And this will be NAF1. And the course that we will be taking after reaching this VOR that we are now flying to will be 302. Very tiny. Oh, we are overspeeding. So as I said, cruise speed is somewhere around here, 90, 89 on the high pressure RPM gauge. Okay, so what was it? 302 on NAF1. Yeah, the knobs are just perfect. Are we on beam? Yeah, so it's following this. And you can also, sadly there is no hotkey or click spot to center the heading back, like there is one in the BAE 146, where you can just like click a screw and it will do it. Here it's not working. You can take a look around. Let me just make sure it will not be too loud for you. Some nice mountains. A lot of clouds. Still nice. Yeah, I like it. It's like really charming with like how short and stubby it is. And also, as I said, if it's not bright daylight, then I even like the interior. And sometimes it looks just amazing if you get this like morning light and evening light, and then you can see the very high quality of many of those textures and objects. Once again, too much talking, so we need to reset here to standard pressure. We can get rid of the flight director, so we only needed it for climb. I think we can add some power a little bit because we're getting too slow, so let's keep it around 90 RPM. What else? Is it on? Yeah, it is. Is there any bad weather? No. Let's just zoom it out. Anything? No. Okay, let's make sure that we have all of the lights that we need. Yeah, everything is fine. So once again, rotating beacons, strobe, nav light, taxi light, landing lights, everything is where it should be. Okay, so here I think we can just jump ahead. I will just jump through all of those VORs, and then once we are closer to the approach, then I will see you again, and then we will do the more complicated procedural stuff, because for now, just to show you what we will be doing. Where's my route? Okay, so you'll be just flying around the line, jumping from one of those VORs to the next VOR. It's pretty much this part where it will be getting very exciting, and this is also where I will be coming back to you. Okay, thanks and see you. Okay guys, welcome back. So we are close to our last point on this tour, to the last VOR, and we will be preparing for landing. Let me go back. So just a short story before we do it. Now we are turning on the last VOR. Let me just show you what we are exactly doing and where we are. So we are kind of here, and we'll be coming close to this one, and here we will slowly start the approach. I actually had a problem with cabin pressurization because I got the cabin pressurization alarm. I have checked all of the bleeds multiple times, all of the settings, the rate, and I couldn't figure out what this is. And in the end, I kind of realized I might have moved this one by 1 pixel. It's the manual control for the pressurization. I was like scrolling somewhere here and have done this. Just like 1 pixel down. But now it's back up, now it should work. So if this happens to you, if you don't know what is going on, you might have moved this one by a very little bit. Okay, so we are 25 miles out. We can slowly tune in the ILS. So now we are, let me just show you. Now we are maneuvering to this one. There is a light here, but it's hard to see. So we will use this one, NAV1, to tune in the ILS. So let's do it. It will be 111.7. So 111.7. And the final course will be 202. And let's brief what we will be doing. So the VOR that we are will be passing in a moment is this Mike Quebec Golf VOR. So once we pass it, we will have to set up the course 246, and after 40 miles and 8 miles, I think that this is how this should be read. We should cross the line to the ILS. So this is pretty much what we will be doing. So here we can see that on this line from Rengo, which should be at 6,200, but we will be coming this way. And so we will be using this minimum safe altitude that we have here. So 7,600. We can already prepare by checking the checklist for descent. As you can see, there is no cruise checklist, and this is also why I forgot to show you one thing. We were supposed to move them back to off for cruise. So like for takeoff, for climb, and then to off for cruise. So now I moved them to off. So we will be kind of starting descending when we reach the VOR and 10 miles. Sadly, because of the light, I cannot really see the buttons. Is it on beam? And either way, we have it here. So the autopilot is active on the beam, on the VOR, so this should be fine. So one thing that I really like about this plane, that it's pretty rare, that all of the lights, well, apart from those, as we have established, are visible in bright daylight. So even if it's the middle of the day, but you will have like some clouds, you will still be able to see something. So this is pretty nice. We are 8 miles out, so we can already tune in this minimum safe altitude that we had there for this like whole area, 7,600. Okay. Is it? Yeah, it is. So the nice thing is that at the destination airport we actually have the standard barrow reference, so we don't need to change anything. It's just 1013. And the minimum's 1400, so 394. So this will be here. Oh no, sorry, this is the decision height, so not so bad, it's just 200, so it's the standard one. Because this is not the barrow setting, it's the radar altimeter setting, so 200 is okay. Yeah, for a moment I was thinking I messed something up with the pressurization, but there's really nothing to mess up, it's like all automatic. And sadly, did I click something? Oh yeah, I know, it just switched to a different mode because we flew over the VOR. So now we have to turn to 246. So let me just do it here. 246 is about here. And now you can see the light. So we are using this one. So let me just move it to 246. Talking so much, I didn't realize we are already flying over the VOR. And here you can see the RMI, which I think is the best tool if you want to do radio navigation. It's very easy to well, know where you are in relation to the VORs. So this is cool. Even if you mess up this one, turn it the other way or something, this will always show you where the VOR is. And with this, I think you can start descending. So I would like VS mode. It's pretty violent in this one, so I like to not set it to the final VS, but just start with a shallow one and then just increase it. And each time you are changing this one, you also have to remember to click this one again, so it will catch the altitude. Is it on VS? Yeah, it should be. And with this, we are slowly descending. I think I can even make it a more shallow descent to this minimum safe altitude, and now we can do the checklist. So fasten seat belts. Not yet, I think, although this is funny, so I want to show you. So it starts with fasten seat belts, but no smoking, you are just turning on later. So really retro flying. Pressurization, so we have to set it to the elevation of the destination airport. So in this case it's around 1000, so we will do 1500. In most planes they are recommending to add a little bit, so here we are adding 1000, and in many planes they are recommending adding around 500, so I guess this is what I will do here. And this, the TTC switches, so those AGT, EGT limitations are going to take off. Landing data, we have it checked, so we have the right barrow. Oh, did I move it? Why? Okay, like this. And crew briefing is ready. So let's see what approach will be. Here you can see no smoking is being turned on later. So they can smoke for a time when they are seated. And now I'm talking too much. And we are not following the radio. So let me make sure that we are on the radio. And also let him catch it. And the radio is behind us and we will be slowly descending. Yeah, and as I said, here once we will be turning left, there will be some amazing views with this approach to Walla Walla. And something that I can really recommend. It's one of the nicer places and the most original ones that I have seen. Okay, so let's make sure everything is nice here. So 1 for here, and we will be waiting for 40 miles out from the VOR that is behind us. So in a moment, pretty much, it will be 40 miles, and then we have to descend to 6,200, and then it will be another 8 miles before we will catch the ALS here. Once again, I can show you, we are pretty much somewhere here, and we'll be going down here. Okay, so it seems like we can get rid of the speed brake. We are nicely stabilized on 246. Let me show you again. So we are going here, we are somewhere here at the minimum safe altitude, and once the DME will show around 40, we will start descending further. Let's make sure that we have everything. Let's not breach the limit here. This is okay, we are in beam and we are holding 7,600. So we have all of the landing lights except for the taxi light, which is okay. We have seated the passengers. The landing field elevation is set to around 1,000. Seems to be fine. And also the barrow is set to 1013, which is what it was supposed to be. I would expect that we will lose the signal in a second, because this DME that is behind us, you can see here, is pretty weak. It's around 40 miles, so we should be without it in a second. But we can just use the heading to stay on this course, and then we should catch the ALS soon, which will be on NAV2. From what I remember, this ALS has no DME reading, so we will just tune in the VOR here. That is at Walla Walla. Maybe this one will have the DME, so we will see. Okay, so we are close to it. Let me just change to heading mode. This way it will be easier. And then, starting from around 40, we can descend to the next altitude. Loop. And we have lost the signal as expected. Here you need to remember to have Alt pre-select. Use Alt pre-select. And now it should be fine. I just need to watch out for the speed. The gear horn is here. So this is also fine. So when it comes to the flap operation and the gear operation, it's really simplified. I mean, the real one. The limit for all of the flaps and the gear is 200. The exception is full flaps, so the last notch of flaps that we'll be using for our landing. Okay, so here we are going down. I will switch to NAV1. Okay, so this is the right course, and we will see if anything will happen here. And at the same time, I will tune in this VOR that is at the destination airport. So 116.4. And we can see 20 miles to the airport, so we will now be watching this. Here it's 6,200, and the next step will be 4,600 here. Let me make sure I will arm beam, so we won't miss this one if we cross it. Let me reduce the speed a little bit, and we can start with deploying the flaps. Oops, not this view, this view. I like this indicator. Maybe it's for the cabin crew to be able to confirm that it's the right setting to the pilot if he has doubts or something. Okay, 6,200, and we can already proceed to 4,600.
Course bar active.
Good. Okay, let's catch it, and now we can pretty much proceed with the descent up until 3,200, where we will catch the ALS, hopefully. So 3,200. Okay. Nice. So we are on the ILS, and let's do glide. To be honest, I'm not sure if it's catching it. Here you can see those like wonderful hills on the approach to Walla Walla. So this is still not the best weather to look at them, but it's really great. Okay, either way, talking too much. Let's just proceed with the flaps. We are under 200. Oh, almost not. Okay. And here you can see the DME to the airport, so to nav1. Just to be sure, let's center heading. I had two situations where it was not following the glide slope, so I'm not entirely sure, so we will have to see. Let me see what the expected distance is. So at 72 miles, we should be at 3,200. So here, 72, 3,200. We are still 12 away, so we still have a lot of time to catch it. Let's take a look at some views. Yeah, the hills are great. As I said, if there are some clouds here and like some sun rays coming through the clouds, this looks even more 3D of those hills. They kind of look a little bit like the desktop wallpaper that you had in Windows in the old versions. Okay, but I'm talking about Windows now, and we actually want to descend. 111.7, 202, so this is okay for the ILS. And this is nav2 that we only use as DME. To be honest, I'm kind of afraid it might not catch it. There is an APR mode, but I have seen many people run ILSs without it. So what it is doing is setting both HSIs to the localizer, which is not that important to us. But I have seen many people land on ILS just using this nav1 setting. You can also use auto glide slope to get the glide slope indication here. So apart from it being here and here. Oops, almost busted the limit here. Forgot probably to click it. And you can see the runway ahead, 7 miles out. We can go to 25. And here we need to click the right settings for our bugs. So landing maximum here. So the approach speed is this yellow one. We can go here down. Here we can see if the whole process is a success or not, because it takes a lot of time for it to deploy. And flaps full. Oh, because it's not fully deployed yet, so we get the gear horn, so we can silence it. Yeah. Let's not lose too much speed. Yeah, this is just beautiful on this approach. This is really cool. Okay, so when it comes to the usage of the air brake, so we will... Yeah, so those are the spoilers that will deploy automatically if we click it. But we will also want to use the air brake that is on the back on our plane. And there are different approaches.
Cabin is secured for arrival.
Because the official approach is to deploy it once you are over the threshold. But I have seen many people, including the developer, deploying it like 10 feet, 20 feet above the runway, like when about to touch down. And my experience is that it's actually a little bit better. It's easier to control the plane this way. Let me do a last check. So landing gear is down, skid control check. This is a test that you can run here, not so important. Brake pressure in the green. Lift dampers are armed, and flaps are set to full. Okay. Ready for landing. Okay, we're losing a little bit too much speed. So this is also why we are slightly below the glide slope. It's not so easy with those old engines to find the right setting for the approach, especially if there is some wind, and we have pretty strong headwind here. So as you can see, we are over the glide slope now because of the ballooning of the engines, and still it's showing 4 reds. So, yeah, I know. So maybe this is something that my plane that will be fixed with Sim Update 6. Okay, because I have already seen they will be working on the puppy lights. So the sound that you could hear were the minimums, pretty much closing to the minimums.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay, This was the air brake, and we have touchdown. So I did it at 10, exactly like the guy did in the video, pretty much. And you can see the lift dampers are out. We can get rid of the flaps. So there are no reversers, sadly, because I know many people like them. So not in this plane. And custom Walla Walla from Flight Sim TO, totally free. Let's get rid of the brake. And we will take a look at it in a second. So in this case, it seems like it did catch the glide slope and it was working. I think I did overcomplicate it the last times by trying approach, and one time I think I had the localizer in nav2, and despite it being active, it was not following it. So this is maybe something that I have messed up. So it seems like just keeping it in nav1 is the best solution, pretty much, and the easiest one to not get confused. And just get the parking brake. Let's get rid of all of the landing lights. Let's deploy the taxi light. We don't want the strobe. We can change the localizer to standby. Gas lock comes back on. Anything else? Yeah, let's open the door for the APU, and after 10 seconds we'll be able to start. Let's see if we have forgotten about anything. Speed brake is in. Yeah. Okay, lift dampers in, flaps up, pitot and vane heat. So here. And this is windshield heating, but it's also there. So I'll just move it here. Generator switch 3 is turning on the APU. I think it might have been 10 seconds. No, because it's not started yet. Okay, so we will be starting the APU. Radio transponder is okay. Yaw damper can go to off, as I said, after the landing, which is great, because I have messed up so many landings trying to like click the yaw damper somewhere. Gas lock is on, and engine fire warning test. So this is also a retro thing to do. So before turning off the engines, you check if there will be a fire, if you will be able to detect it, be notified. Let me turn up the sound a little bit, because you can see it's a little bit quiet. So I was looking at this airport, and there seems to be an FBO somewhere here, so let's just use it. Still, I will show you some of the stuff. So from what I remember, the nice thing about this one is that you don't need any additional downloads, so that everything is combined in this one. If I'm lying to you, I will correct it in the description, because I have downloaded it, well, I guess 2 months ago, where I was like approaching Walla Walla for the first time. And it was really cool. Just wondering if it's one of those. Is it? Let me just see. So the FBO is after the control tower. So we can just proceed. And you can probably already hear the music. I guess for the last part we can just turn on GSX, because it's nice and it's a fast process to do it. Can I just enter here? I guess I need to take this one. Is this the FBO? No. Doesn't look like it, so it's probably this. Because it's like control tower, fire station, and then FBO. And this is nice. You can see those buildings here in the background. Okay, so fire station, FBO. Well, doesn't look like much, I would say. So let us hold here and check out this new wonderful... for me it's kind of strange, as you can see. Select from now. So we are pretty much here, and I would like this one, I think. So strange. Okay, but we can still... Yeah, as you can see, I just have like standard resolution, so I don't want to follow me car, and I have my own stairs. Oh, now I don't know how to... Let me just see. Okay, so from this direction, so let's try it. Oh, it tells me the lift dampers are out, so now they are in. Strange. Is this for a helicopter? I'm now having concerns. I think the best way was to just use the airliner ramp parking places. But still, I think you can do it. Then in the end I will show you some additional views from night view, because I still think it's the best when it comes to the night lighting in this one. We just cheat a little bit. Probably despite cheating it will not be perfect, but oh well. Yep. Okay, now we can get the APU on. It's here, so generator, bleed air, and can cut the engines. Thank you. Whoa, okay, we got the Gangnam style dance, so it was really good. But sadly I cheated, so it's not earned. Okay, nice. And I like those like very simple functions of GSX. For others, I'm only like seldom using them because it's just too much effort for me. Okay, so we have the switch here, parking brake on, the fuel valves are shut, fasten seat belts go to off, yeah, and no smoking. I guess please don't smoke. Okay, so maybe let's leave it. Air conditioning 1 goes to off. So we have the bleeder here, engine on TIs. Is it on off? Yeah, it is on off. And booster pumps, so the pumps here go to off. Landing and flare lights are to off, but we don't need the taxi light. Could have actually turned it down even before. No beacons. Tech lock complete, and now we'll just leave it as it is. And now we can just deboard once again. You can just use this functionality, which is nicer for me because GSX is too complicated, and you can use full GSX. It's fully compatible, and I have used it multiple times if you are into GSX. But we want like this 5-minute deboard. So. And this just opens everything up and gives you all of the sounds pretty much. Yeah, nice deboarding music. We can go to the night because, as I said, I want to show you all of the cool details. So we also have red light here. If you are not into this bright white light, you can just go full red, like in the military. And there's also this overhead light, if you want it, also looks nice. So lots and lots of stuff to play around with. You can also go to the cabin. Here you have like maximum light, but you can also turn it down here. So now you have nothing, and now you have just part of it. So one thing that I couldn't find, and I'm not sure if it's a thing, I think not, is changing the brightness of the light. Maybe it was not a thing in retro airliners. And you can also dim the light here, pretty much. You can also play around with the door. There's a pretty nice animation with sounds. And now it's maybe not working because I'm like unloading passengers or something, but it's really, really nicely done. You can hear the APU. Go back. Yeah, and this was the old Fokker. Okay, lots and lots of fun to land. We can take a look at like the landing results. I have no idea what it will be because sometimes I'm thinking it's like very soft, but it was not in the end. So let's check what touchdown FX is telling us. Yeah, it was 200, and for me it felt like really, really soft. So. But apart from this, pitch was okay, bank was okay, crepe was okay, center line was kind of okay. Only the vertical speed was on the higher side. Do we have G here? But I'm blind. It's probably obvious here. No, this is degrees. Oh, here G-force 1.1. Yeah, so everyone lives. Good enough. Okay, guys. So thank you once again. I hope it was interesting, I hope it was fun, and I hope many additional people will discover this old plane because it's really a lot of fun, and it's actually much, much easier to start, to fly, to land than, for example, the 727 that we have from FSS, and also than the BAE 146 that has a lot of additional buttons, a lot of additional systems, and a lot of the additional procedures that you have to do at all of the steps like of the flight. Okay, so I think this is the end. Once again, thank you very much and see you in future GA flying videos. Thank you, bye bye.